In this part one of our tribute to William Shakespeare, the English playwright and poet dubbed the Immortal Bard, we'll survey the seedbed for his work, plus his two empowering secrets. Writers, poets, and actors struggling today may find encouragement in noting that the first historical record of any Shakespeare play is a scathingly bad review by one Robert Greene. Yes, the now universally beloved, greatest of all-time dramatist in the English language, was at first panned, labelled an upstart crow, back in his day. Yet mark thee well, who's merry now? For Shakespeare's plays and sonnets steadily came to be globally respected, then treasured, in the centuries following his death, and so they remain, with his most famous lines still quoted daily. The United States of America alone stages hundreds of Shakespeare festivals annually, and cyclic revivals and reimaginings of his plays come out of Japan, Germany, and even Hollywood. But the Bard from Stratford had two interesting secrets, facts that even most Shakespeare fans are most likely unaware of. They enabled him to become king of his craft and to create full-time. Before revealing them, let's put Shakespeare's creative world, Elizabethan Theatre, into its global context. Mankind's earliest plays came not from England, but from 5th century BCE Greece. Next, in India, a golden age of theatrical drama flourished during the Gupta era, from about 300 CE, producing its own Shakespeare, the now legendary playwright Kalidasa. From around 1200 CE onwards, a richly sophisticated theatre industry bloomed in China, soon followed by the unique no-theatre culture of Japan, which survives to this day. In England itself, plays took on a unique national flavour, following an interesting trajectory. Well before Shakespeare's lifetime, they began as simply dramatised readings from the Bible. That fairly limited genre over centuries slowly developed, becoming the mystery and morality plays, still mostly religious, that were performed during traditional village and Christian festivals. But a mischievous element crept in, a roguish custom, on festival days, of the common folk being allowed, in fact encouraged, to use plays to tease and lampoon local priests and officials. Thus, an energetic, interactive, and sometimes naughty brand of English theatre evolved, and, in the years preceding Shakespeare's rise to prominence, underwent rapid, unexpected refinement. This happened because during the European Renaissance, Seneca, Plautus, and other classical playwrights were rediscovered, added to the curriculum of English universities, then imitated. Groups like Cambridge's University Wits, with stars like Christopher Marlowe, absorbed this influence, moved to London and produced plays for what became the Elizabethan Theatre. With perfect timing as this unique new theatrical subculture emerged, ready to write and many are surprised to learn to act in his own plays, Shakespeare arrived from Stratford. His rise to global stardom came after his death, but he was increasingly celebrated in his lifetime because, and here comes secret number one, he actually created much of our modern English. Across almost 40 plays, while designing around 1,000 characters, Shakespeare worked so hard to give each one utterly unique dialogue that he was forced to invent or repurpose words. This he did with such groundbreaking skill that today, we English speakers use hundreds of words daily that this lone genius created, just to bring his astoundingly real characters to life. When you recently said or wrote admirable, critical, mimic, misquote, defeat, or proudly called yourself a protester, you were using one of Shakespeare's originals. He's simply everywhere. His characters, whose dialogues all have their own unique rhythm, come from every echelon of society, highest educated to coarsest rustic. Yet, William mastered all their specific vocabularies. For Shakespeare's matchless wordcraft shows, he perfectly understood the skills and in-house jargon of hundreds of professions and guilds, from doctors to lawyers, sailors to traders, even military specialists. While this language mastery has been intensely studied and verified for over 400 years, it's still largely inexplicable because Shakespeare himself remains quite a mysterious figure. Records reveal his birth, marriage, parenthood, and death dates, but we know nothing about his religion, politics, sexuality, full breadth of travel or education, inspirations or research practices. Secret number 2 is how he enabled himself to write and act full-time, and so produce such a huge volume of work, because back then, as now, very few could live on a creative person's wages. Authenticated government records show that William Shakespeare, for all his astonishing artistry, was also, somehow, a money-savvy, wheeling-dealing, self-made real estate tycoon. Though so many now immortal historical creatives like Mozart, Edgar Allan Poe and Oscar Wilde all died in poverty, Shakespeare achieved real affluence and had plenty to leave in his will. This reveal that the undisputed master of the English language also had massive business acumen stuns many people who assumed he must have been a struggling, underappreciated artiste in his own lifetime. If William's work has influenced you, please tell us how in a comment below, and don't miss part 2 to hear Shakespeare's work itself unveil his grasp of love, philosophy, and serial murder.
If you've enjoyed our 2-part Shakespeare survey, you'll probably also love our take on the other giant of European literature, who awaits you in episode 13.